terrorist, totalitarian, authoritarian tyrant for 2018, 19, 2003 years. 3 years worth of broadcasting to warn Americans that this is no run-of-the-mill, laughable idiot person, that idiocy and fascism actually go quite well together because they help with the whole everyman appeal thing. I'm approachable, I'm not a threat, underestimate me, I'm just your friendly local fascist, and clearly fascism is what you've been waiting for all your life. Fascism in America goes well with the authoritarian leanings of the far right and white Christian fundamentalists who believe that they are the protectors of the family. And it wouldn't matter so much if it was just them that believed it, because they're still, 20% of the American population, evangelical Christians. But it becomes a problem when people accept their perception of that role in society, that it's okay for them to believe that they are the guardians of society's morals, and we allow them to get by on that, because then people treat them as neutral or non-threatening, and they'll vote for them. Like, oh, yep, it's a necessary counteractive pendulum swing relative to social progress in which gay marriage is achieved as a social good. So, we've had our turn making social progress for people. They're all upset about their cakes and having to help women through reproductive difficult choices, etc. Maybe they are the protectors of the family unit that they think they are. Maybe they are safeguarding the family unit, and we could just take a chance and indulge them for a bit, particularly if they're being led by someone who also claims to be really good at business and indeed a billionaire. So Donald Trump had that high profile and that association with the actualization of the American dream in relation to wealth and good-looking women and all of that trappings of success from one perspective. You wouldn't think he wouldn't be a natural hero for white evangelical Christians to embrace, but actually he is, because he's fallen, and evangelical love fallen people, because then they can say, look, Jesus saved them and lifted them up from whatever they fell into in relation to putting their genitals into somebody else and cheating on their wives. They were fallen, now they're saved, and now Donald Trump is our champion and will make sure everybody else has to obey our value system of making it difficult for women to choose not to proceed with a pregnancy. That's their values. They want to make unborn children have the same legal protections as sentient humans. Now, I'm prepared to friendlily debate that there is a degree of sentience in children in their third trimester of gestation. I'm prepared to call them children or unborn children. I'm happy to go to people having baby showers. Oh, I just realized I haven't checked the comment section. Hello to August from Denver. Hi, Mark. Hi, AJ.
Mommy, what did I do? I have nothing.
Oh, do you want to ask your brother to watch yeah? Or do you want to read Mummy's book some more that she wrote? Do you want to write in your own book?
No.
Do you want to get dressed so that we could go out?
No.
Oh, well, you think of something. I'm not making any more suggestions. You just
Mom
want to what?
wants movie stuff.
What did you say?
Mom wants the movie stuff for Daddy.
Oh, no. Well, did you ask Daddy about that? I don't think he's interested.
Daddy, could we
Is Ali Alexander right in relation to, is it true that he's in trouble? Yes, he's in trouble. And on his videos, he not only has said that he wants to stab people who oppose him and claimed viciously and erroneously that Democrats are coming to stab your children. Every false threat that they pretend we make to them is their way of ramping themselves up into a state of violence and murderousness and overcoming any social training that they've been exposed to that says don't harm other people. Because that training does always come with a fair caveat that says don't harm other people unless they're an immediate threat to you. So basically, Republican. What done? What did you? Why didn't I buy the book? So, oh, there is a book for you, and it's resting on top of the thing. That's a new one. And there's the cat book as well.
Book Soul?
No, it's not the book Soul. My daughter wants to go see the new movie Soul. And maybe you can, but not today. What did Daddy say about it? Did he say he wasn't interested? Do you want to cuddle? You can have a cuddle.
We can't wait much longer.
Sweetie, Mummy's doing a live broadcast.
We can't wait much longer.
You can't wait much longer to see the movie. It's also, we're not. Yeah. Why don't you make a list of Daddy of all the reasons you want to see Soul, and he might still do it for you while we're on holidays. Where you live, movie theaters may or may not be open, but we currently live in an area where the virus has been contained, so we're allowed to go to the movie theaters, but I think the seats are all spread out. But just as a family, we were being a bit cautious because of coronavirus, darling. We didn't want to go sit in the movie theaters yet. And it's not available for us on just our own TVs for a few more days. If you cut out some shapes, you could make a house with those. Yeah. Baby girl, I'm going to have to send you to your room to have a cooling down period if you're going to have big feelings about it, okay? Because I can't fix it for you. I can give you cuddles. All right, you can sit on my lap. And you can say hello to the internet if you really want. Or you can just sit there. Hello, Masha. Nice to see you. Someone's wishing us, Tahir is wishing us happiness. How was birthday breakfast? I think they were some of the best. Were they some of the best pancakes Mummy's ever made, or just average?
Good.
They were good? And did Daddy like his present?
Mm-hmm.
Good. All right. So what was I saying? I was saying Alexander made videos in which he not only falsely characterized Democrats as threatening in order to further inflame, to further indoctrinate Trump supporters and Ali Alexander followers into a state of violent rage. He also named some co-conspirators that he alleges in the Republican Party: Paul Gosar, Andy Biggs, and then who's the last one? Mo Brooks. So we already know that Mo Brooks spoke in an inflammatory, violence-inciting way at on the day of the 6th of January on attempted insurrection day. What's it like with the footage that people are seeing? I know Twitter often showcases things that people should get upset about. Twitter is a good place for people to share things that they're outraged or upset about. But what's it like on mainstream television at the moment? Are you still seeing daily revelations of what happened on the inside during the siege, or even the battles that occurred on the outside as Trump supporters, Trump rioters strove to gain access to a building and break through police cordons? How's that? Do people feel like there's a buildup of, you can sit there, but you have to be reasonably quiet unless you have something interesting to say. You can't just make noises, okay? Ninja Buddha, my troll is still here, says, are you really going after Ali Alexander, who was on video calling people off from storming the Gap? Look, I'm sure we could find video footage of Hitler saying that he had nothing against the Jews as well. But the thing about liars and insurrectionists and tyrants is that the general thrust of their behavior and their rhetoric, when it's for violence and it's for overthrowing the government, and it involves the big lie that there was a stolen election, when the election most certainly was not stolen from Donald Trump. He lost power because he lost the trust of the people, even some white people who had previously deemed him worthy of office. Or rather, he energized voters who could see how dangerous and destructive he was to America and American residents, who turned out in the additional millions, 81 million, to vote for Biden. And I'm sorry, the camera's a bit pixelated. HAP seems to take up more CPU than StreamYard does when I stream straight to Periscope.
Put out my tongue.
Does it look good? So I'm hopeful that today's the day I take time to take my munchkins to an electronics shop And maybe we'll buy a special camera to attach to the computer and a special extra good microphone. Maybe Mummy can do that today. Oh, good. So Marsha says new videos are coming out. That's really good because that will continue to build Pumpkin. That's not a good idea for the TV. I'm going to send you away to keep doing it, okay? Yeah. But you are saturated. Yes, well, if you are saturated, I recommend individuals turn off just for mental health reasons. But the good idea is turn it off knowing that there are people who haven't seen it yet, who engage only intermittently with the news, who may still yet get a chance to see it and form a better opinion, a more informed opinion about the degree to which Trump and his many Republican co-conspirators and enablers helped foment this riot that led to the savage beating death of a police officer and many, many more injuries to police officers, and would likely have been much worse were it not for the quick thinking of some people, including Eugene Goodman, one Black American Capitol Hill police officer who tricked the rioters into following him rather than following down a corridor that would have led to the Senate chambers. The HAPS broadcast is still in beta. So maybe it will improve. Alan, I think that's a rebuke of me for pretending to smoke before. All right, fine. I won't pretend to smoke. Chicky. No sticking out your tongue at the internet. A rebuke to me for was pretending to smoke on the internet. I won't do it anymore. I don't want to falsely promote cigarette smoking. I wanted to promote fake cigarette smoking. People can vape if they want to give it up. Alan's put in some cookies. Are they cookies? Do you think those are pictures of cookies? I think they might be chocolate chip cookies.
Chocolate chip cookies.
No, careful, Baba. Careful. That cigarette will break easily. And I don't really want you to play with cigarettes. It's not a lid. It's not a texture. Do not put a lid on it. All right. What was amazing, Marsha? Eat cookies. All right. I hear that multiple GOP congressmen and women evaded. It does say eat cookies. No, we don't have any cookies. Evaded the metal detectors, like strode around it and then ran away from Capitol Hill police. So obviously the testing, I guess, we're hoping that right now they haven't brought in any weapons, metal weapons into Congress, but we're hoping as well that Capitol Police respond to what is a high rate of non-compliance, or a higher rate than is acceptable of GOP non-compliance with the rules about passing through the metal detector, so that they step up their policies and find some mechanism for challenging House representatives who don't comply, and then maybe putting up a barricade if they don't consent. So maybe they have to have a movable barricade that they only move to the side when people go through the metal detector as asked, and show the contents of their bags to the operatives who are helping to keep Congress safe in the context of ongoing violent rhetoric, ongoing plans to organize more attempted coup, and in the context of an ongoing concern that Trump, who is as of yet unimpeached and unconvicted and still is in office, could try and use martial law. So yes, absolutely. Republicans are flaunting their contempt for rules, and I guess that's a function of their contempt for Americans who don't vote for them, and really Americans who do vote for them as well, because the functioning of Republican politics, I think, for a long time now has been behave in a way that derives extra benefits and privileges to Republican donor classes, and B, facially present a loyalty to certain demographics of people, whilst pretending that it's loyalty to certain American values, such as independence. So the people who hear their words know that there's a code in them of, you represent white Christian interests, but on the surface it's saying, yes, we support all Americans who don't ever accept help, knowing that white Christian Republican extremists often believe that they don't accept any government help, even when they do. They don't count their veterans payments. They don't count money that they get from the government as help. And that was detailed by a writer called Jonathan Metzl, who wrote a book called Dying of Whiteness. And he interviewed people who were adamant that they didn't like government and didn't believe in accepting any government help. And when he pointed out that they received various government benefits, they merely denied that those benefits were government benefits. They were not benefits, they were their entitlements. And therefore that's not help, that's just what they are owed. And we can see from that entitlement culture can really pervert people's thinking and make it difficult for them to accept reality. And one writer who I really recommend following on Twitter is Chrissy Stroop, and I think her Twitter handle is @C_Stroop, STROOP, because she writes very eruditely and persuasively on religious extremism in the United States. And she probably wouldn't call it religious extremism, actually. She would say that we give too much of a pass to white Christian people who have anti-democratic rhetoric. Hello.
We want to go.
Where'd you want to go?
It's Mummy.
Yeah, but you want to go to the movies and Mummy's not taking you to the movies. I don't want to go to the movies yet. There's too much COVID. You could go play with your brother. He's building something out of Lego. Why don't you build a hospital? I'm not taking you to the movies.
But
Baba,
then I'll get popcorn.
do you know what? I'm going to put you on a pink dot because you've kept asking when I've told you no.
Popcorn?
Oh, yeah, we could go shopping and get popcorn kernels to make popcorn at home.
Can I watch a movie at home?
Oh, you mean like a movie night for Daddy?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, why don't you go ask
But
Daddy?
maybe not because at nighttime. Maybe
An afternoon movie? A morning movie?
Mm-hmm.
Why don't you go ask Daddy and ask him if he has any ideas of movies he'd like to watch at home? Okay. But also, if he's busy, then give him space as well, okay? So if he says, wait 1 minute before asking you a question, then you let him do that.
He's playing the game.
Okay. No. Okay. Sorry about that. Took Haps a little while to realize that I had updated my password. And once it did realize that, and that I'd updated my password for Haps on my phone, but I was using my laptop, it went, hey, you can't be on here. You haven't got a current password in this particular login. So I guess I should have logged in and out of Haps on my laptop before starting a broadcast. But I just thought maybe they'd just rolled over. You want crouchy pouchy. I'm going to tell you one more time.
I'm
To go play. No, I'm not getting off. You go play with your brother. You can set the timer for 10 minutes, and that's fine.
We could miss timer.
You want me to? That's all right. You don't have an. Okay, I will. It's okay. I'll set the timer for you here. Oh, no, that just ran out of battery. Can you go plug that in for me? So Bernadette says hi.
Yeah, plug in.
Alan says she should have an iPad.
Yeah, I plugged in.
August West says, does she explain?
I put it.
No, plug it in next to Mummy's bed.
I thought you said put it in the bin.
Didn't say put it in the bin.
I put it.
I'm back. Oh, Marsha, thanks for subscribing to me on Haps. The pictures got better. That's good. I haven't done anything, but yes. So the question was, does she explain how Christianity got involved with white supremacy? Probably. I haven't read anywhere where she does that, but I would imagine so. And there's another author called Robert Jones, who's a Christian, who explains that conceiving of Jesus as white has seemed to have been a critical factor in falsely associating supreme virtues with whiteness and white Christianity. Do my pumpkins have iPads? Yes. Well, not individual iPads, but we have one. I think it's out of battery. Do you know what? Mummy would give you one sticker if you made an effort to read one book.
I want to watch the whole.
Yeah, I'm not taking you to the movies. I know. I think Soul's a really good movie, and I can't wait to see it too. But
You didn't give me the intro.
Oh, you mean you want to watch a preview?
Really, I don't want this one.
Okay, well, you go choose a book, and you can have one sticker if you read one book.
You don't want a sticker. I just want
Sweetheart, you're
the
going to
intro.
lose a sticker. Yeah, I'm not playing. I'm not
The
playing.
intro.
Good. Well, another time when I'm not broadcasting live. Madam, you're close to losing the sticker because that's enough. Yes, that Jesus is perceived as white, and therefore there's some connection. I might have to go hang out with her because she's really cross about not getting to go see Soul at the movies. I don't want to go to the movies yet. I know we can wear masks, but being in a theater with a lot of people, and of course 5-year-olds can't always have what they want either, and that's just something to, I guess, process as you grow and learn. She has wanted it for a little bit, and she'll get it at some point. Disney Plus might come out. I haven't really wanted to sign on to Disney Plus as well. They're one of the companies that buy time on Fox. And I did put that in my title today, actually, didn't I? Ali Alexander, Murdoch, and other backers of insurrection. So Rupert Murdoch, who, as you know, owns Fox News, also owns a significant amount of media in Australia and in the UK. The UK is in the toilet, or heading apace to a toilet destination because of Brexit, a referendum taken to say that the United Kingdom should remove itself from its massive bag of trading partners in the European Union.
Let's skip all the way to the end to see how many pages.
Yeah, that's okay. You can read one.
And the 24th page is this chapter page. That's why I didn't catch the 24 one.
That's okay. If you read one bit of each page, even if there's 23 pages, you could still do it. You could read one paragraph from each of the pages. Even you could just read the headlines under the pictures. So yes, Ali Alexander is definitely one of the players. So are his co-conspirators, Paul Gosar, Andy Briggs, and Mo Brooks. So Trump's co-conspirators who kept selling the false idea to Republican-believing Americans that there was evidence of fraud in the election, even though 62 court defeats have illustrated that there's no evidence of fraud or widespread fraud. There was three cases of potential voting fraud that were uncovered, all of which were people voting twice for Donald J. Trump, which is actually something that he recommended doing a little while ago when he told people to test the system by voting or requesting a ballot and then also turning up to vote in person just to check to make sure whether or not they stopped you. So he was basically advising people to commit a felony to test the efficacy of the rule of law. Don't touch that down. Okay.
What's this?
That's mascara.
What do you use it for?
Yes.
What do you use it for?
Norway is out of the European Union and is the richest. Wow.
What do you
I can
use
see
it
why you'd
for?
aspire to riches. Let me advise you that
What do
riches
you use it
doesn't have
for?
a T in it. Oh, that's for grown-ups to paint extra black color on their eyelashes.
Whoa. I want them.
Oh, they want to see some drawings from you, Bubba. No? Don't think that's... Oh, and now you know where your dragon is as well, because it's next to where the other things you should... I really think you should show them that dragon. I think it's very cool. But anyway, at your leisure. You know, because you showed it to Daddy and found it, so now it's in the living room next to the comfy chair.
Can I paint them?
You can paint on a piece of paper with it, actually. It will make furry black lines. You could kind of make a tree on it.
Ooh, cool.
Yeah.
Give me some paper. And let me
Give me
see.
some paper.
Please. One.
Not that piece of paper.
It's too pretty to resist.
Oh, no, not that piece of paper either. Where's all the... Oh, there's the plain paper. There you go. Have fun, Bubba. That's better craft. Phew. Yes, so anyway, we're not here to debate the advantages or disadvantages of Brexit. Let's just explain simply and quickly and easily that people in Britain were falsely told to believe there would be less paperwork, that there would be more profits, that their hospitals will be better funded. Instead, it's going to lead to a significant contraction of their economy because you cannot easily replace tens of trading partners of wealthy countries who give you privileges in exchange for relatively easy travel and consistency of standards. Standards for classifying produce and different goods and academic cooperation, etc. There were all of these benefits of being part of the European Union. And yeah, is it a bit fuzzy? Yeah, Mummy's happy to let you have that one because I don't need it anymore. Mummy might get a new mascara because that one is, I think, a bit too dried up now, and I've had it for a long time. Yeah. The masses are asses and easily led. Yes. Actually, we shouldn't talk about makeup, other than to say makeup production is associated with...
Why am I so black?
Because you're getting it on your fingers. That's all. You can wash your fingers. It'll come off with soap. There's some chemicals associated with makeup production that for communities that live near those factories, there are increased risks of premature death from cancer, from autoimmune disorders, etc.
Why won't this thing work?
It might
I
have...
don't want it.
Okay.
This is bad. This is bad. Can I put it in the bin?
Yeah, you can put it in the bin. PFSA. I guess it's a good time to mention it. Cosmetics and personal care items that women use every day are packed with a constellation of chemicals that health advocates say could be connected to a host of health problems. American women use an average of 12 products a day, nearly 200 chemicals, according to a 2004 study. Another survey found women averaged 16 products a day on their face alone. Which is a bit unfortunate. These are the chemicals I'm talking about. Toxic PFSA. What does PFAS stand for? And then we'll go back to Trumpism. Per and polyfluoroalkyl. Alkyl. Okay. They're a group of man-made chemicals that include PFOA, PFOS, Gen X, and many other chemicals. Per and polyfluoroalkyl. Okay, that's good to know. And of course, that range of chemicals are also found in a lot of waterproof items. So again, we might, chemicals and cosmetics are things more like
some of your makeup.
Yes, Mum. Okay, if you get an item, you can bring it to me and ask if I'm happy to share it with you or not. August says Trump's minions are paying the price that both Fox and Facebook have sidestepped for the time being. Oh no, that's too precious. Can't have that. Try another one.
What is the for our cheeks?
You want me to put some on your cheeks? Okay, that's going to look pretty funny. All right, other side. Just a little bit, because a little bit is going to look less clownish than more. Now, the thing about makeup is it's to make mummy look more like you, really, which is kind of a creepy thing to say, but really facial characteristics of children have to be desirable in an evolutionary sense so that we put up with how long human beings take to become independent in a maturational sense. So we have to love them. We have evolved to love children so that we can invest the requisite amount of time and energy into helping bring them to adulthood when they can more readily fend for themselves. So I think relative to other species, human beings take a very long time to reach not only sexual maturity, but just potentially self-sufficiency or the ability to take care of yourself. We all are so vulnerable to the elements without clothes and shelter, etc., that none of us are particularly self-sufficient. We're all, to a high degree, interdependent, and societies over time tend to make it later and later that children can start independently earning money by going down a coal mine or something, which is desirable. We don't want early marriage for children. We don't want early labor conditions for children. Although child actors and child YouTubers, props to them. I don't know how they fit into my argument, but there we go. So yes, facial features that we deem attractive are often facial features that correspond to children's faces, because children have proportionately bigger eyes in their heads than adults do. So when women put on mascara and draw around their eyes to add extra emphasis to their eyes, in a way, are we signaling that we've reached the age of sexual maturity, or are we making ourselves a little bit more childlike as well? That's one argument. Keith would like to know if what was going through my mind on the 6th, did I watch live? No, I don't have cable television or anything. So, and also I was asleep for most of it.
My cheeks blushing.
Yes, your cheeks look very pink.
Yes, Mom.
Yes, Mom. You're going to come sit here, my little pink-cheeked baby. You're going to look a little bit like a clown now, but not too much, because you at least were a bit subtle.
Now I'll wear a crown.
Keith said they literally tried to Handmaid's Tale us. They did. They did try to Handmaid's Tale you, because it would have been a violent overthrow of the government if they'd forced legislators at gunpoint to throw out the Electoral College results and certify Donald Trump as the winner, violating their oaths of office under duress. That could conceivably have happened. That was the intention of the crowd that were told they had to stand up and fight for Trump. I mean, the exhortation to fight for Trump, that was something the crowd chanted, and that was fight or fighting were words used in Trump's speech over 20 times prior to the riot. You want to use lipstick as well? All right. I missed quite a show, yes. I fell asleep, I think, as they had breached the Capitol, so I was lucky that I was able to fall asleep, but I was really very tired, and it was still quite late for me. And then when I woke up, I think they might have been pushed back out of the Capitol building, but people were still, a lot of images that people were seeing were still the more ludicrous images of men in fur and half-naked men with horns violating the sanctity of the Senate floor. And we hadn't seen yet images of people with zip ties, and we hadn't seen video footage yet of the battles with police officers. We hadn't seen Eugene Goodman being chased upstairs by is it Derek Evans? Because I think Derek Evans got arrested today. So Eugene Goodman pushed Derek Evans and ran. Like, he looked very quickly to the left, like, oh, yep, that's the Senate corridor and it's unlocked. And then he pushed Derek and ran in the other direction to provoke them and lead the instigators of that first rush of people to follow him at considerable danger to himself personally. He did it to lead them away from the Senate, and that's commendable, and he'll probably receive a medal from the Biden administration. Keith Allister is saying, yes, makeup serves to both show sexual maturity in younger women and youth in older women. Yes. So yes, thank God Pelosi's life was saved. Thank God her staffers successfully hid under a table for, I think, 5 hours. Oh, that's not too bad. You have done a creditable job with that makeup. That's much better than the last time you had to go. So they won't be able to see you very clearly because you'll be a little blurry. But my daughter, my 5-year-old daughter, has gotten right into the makeup. So good job, darling. But what's more important than looking all pink? What's more important than that?
Okay, I'll just erase the lips.
No. But I just wanted you to remember in the Swan Princess when we watched that, and Odette asked what's his name, Derek, and she asked Derek, why do you like me? Careful, you know, prick me now.
Don't tell them.
No, it's not a spoiler because they're grown ups. They're not going to watch the Swan Princess. You can tell them.
Yes, but I don't want to, because what if the kids watch it?
Well, their kids aren't watching this broadcast, darling. Their kids would find this broadcast boring because Mummy's mostly talking about politics and Donald Trump.
Yes, but on TV.
Yes. Bernadette points out to expect more chaos soon.
Mommy, remember, I found it just on TV. So maybe they'll find it too, and then...
It happens at the beginning of the movie as well. The prince and the princess are expected to get married, but when they meet each other... Okay, you're too loud, baby, and the microphone is just there. That will hurt their ears. Okay. Alan's pointing out that, yes, they also put excrement and urine around the Capitol a lot, like everywhere. I mean, there were hundreds of people who gained violent entrance to the Capitol building. It was the overrunning of the Capitol. So I think that's important to know as well, because of the disrespect it shows for government, the degree to which it shows those people had been indoctrinated into a place of violence and hate and disrespect, that they would smear their own excrement on the walls of their own government buildings. They've been told that things are being stolen from them. They're being told to fear a communist overthrow of government. They're being told that there's nothing legitimate about the Biden administration and the president-elect and the vice president-elect. And they are both aggressors to be savagely condemned, not savagely, let's use something less violent sounding, thoroughly condemned. And at the same time, they're also victims of a massive propaganda effort that very well funded. Rupert Murdoch, Robert Mercer, who owned Cambridge Analytica, as you may know, and Rupert Murdoch, who owns Fox News, and clearly a lot of Republican politicians, and who knows, may have some relationship with Russian oligarchs in the same way that the NRA takes donations from Russian oligarchs. Yes, good point. Bob also points out that there's the biological terrorism of those Republican Congress members who refused in a confined space to wear masks, even when offered masks by some of their Democratic colleagues. They refused, and now 3 Democratic representatives have contracted COVID and potentially passed it on to their spouses as well, because of the willful negligence, the murderous negligence of their Republican colleagues. 4 confirmed cases now. That's atrocious. So, yes.
Did I get all the makeup off?
Yeah, you did. Good job, Baba. Oh, now you look like my beautiful daughter again. Finally.
Because I want to get that makeup off.
Yeah.
Because once I saw it in the mail.
Should Mommy read your book now?
No.
Not yet? Bob said now there will be fines. Yes. I think Nancy
Mommy?
Pelosi has agreed to that. But do they still have to vote on it, or is it straight away? Yes, darling?
Mm. I could try and make earrings, so I can make the sticky tape a bit too long to then stick to my ear, like
Okay,
earrings.
you go get sticky tape. Not this way, that way.
No, but also I need some paper
Oh, paper.
to make it out of paper.
Okay.
To make it out of paper. To make it out of paper.
Oh, did you finish making your crown for Daddy? She made my husband a crown last night. I said it was time to go to bed, but she's like, I can do it really quickly. And she colored out and cut a crown that said King Daddy on it. She executed it quite well with a front and a back that I helped her stick together. But it was definitely a good head size. She looks like your step-granddaughter. Oh, congratulations. You must have a very cute step-granddaughter, which I'm sure you do. Bob said $250 for the first offence and $2,500 after that, or they will be expelled. Pelosi's rule. So that's great. So they don't have to vote on it. It's just already a rule that's going to be applicable to sittings in the House. I'm really happy if that's the case. And I kind of wish it had been a case earlier, but at the same time, I can see that they were just still trading on people's goodwill. They were wearing them before then, weren't they? They were wearing them for appearances in Congress, but when the siege began, they were like, well, the rules don't apply anymore. We don't have to wear them. Is that what happened? So yes, I am sorry I was not watching it on television and can't entirely keep up with what you've seen, but I hope you still enjoy my contribution and analysis even at a distance. And look, I'll still hope that one day soon, potentially in line with our plans for at the end of April, that we move to the US. And I would love to find a co-host in the US to prevent a more back and forth channel. I enjoyed the other day when people expressed that they would like an educational show where I focused on some portion of a civics show where I learnt along with the audience about American civics. I think that would be lovely, and I would love to work with somebody else on such a show. But in the meantime, yes, here I am with political analysis from an outsider, as well as commentary on things aside like makeup and the purpose it serves. Hey, Lauren Bobert's been arrested 4 times, and her husband was once arrested for indecently exposing his genitals to minors. And I believe that one of those minors was Lauren Boebert herself, and that was possibly the meet cute story of her and her husband. He was arrested, but she stayed in touch, I guess. But yes, people are pointing out that one of the most egregious things she has done, even with being arrested 4 times, she tweeted out that Nancy Pelosi had been removed from the chamber so that the insurrectionists would know to look for her in the corridors close to the chamber. And they did have maps after all. So included in her criminal record, apparently, are disorderly conduct, 8 counts of not paying taxes on behalf of Shooter's Grill, the gun-themed restaurant she owns, giving 34 people bloody diarrhea from Shooter's improperly prepared pork sliders at the Garco County Fair in 2017, 2 counts on not showing up to court, and also inadequately paying her Shooter's waitresses. She has been equally as dangerous as a congresswoman. Not only has she insisted on bringing her Glock to work with her every day, just before the riots commenced on January the 6th, 2021, Boebert contributed to inciting violence in support of Trump in these 3 tweets. Oh, she tweeted it's 1776, i.e. it's a day for violent revolution. Although America's founding had more principles than merely standing up for a white supremacist president who has tacitly promised his supporters that he is against the Black Lives Matter movement and consequently is against civil rights and equality before the law for Black Americans. And at this point, I would just like to take a moment to apologize as an Australian, because our Current acting Prime Minister, we don't have a president. The acting Prime Minister of Australia has refused to condemn the violence and the insurrection in the United States, and he drew a parallel to the Black Lives Matter movements, which is incredibly offensive and racist. And he said all violence should always be condemned, and implied that this was no worse than the Black Lives Matter movements, which were a mass movement to protest the murder of a black man by public servants, by police officers, and multiple police officers. And whilst violence may have periodically erupted, researchers have found that 93% of the protests were peaceful and without violent incident. And the occasional violent incidents that occurred were the exceptions of bad faith actors rather than the majority of protesters who were protesters relative to periodic troublemakers and rioters, which included some white nationalist boogaloo prepper accelerationist type people who believe in bringing forward a civil war in order to be first off the mark in terms of the violence they expect to happen. Yes, Zinte says our PM is also a piece of S. He is our Prime Minister and our acting Prime Minister. So they are truly awful. I've referred to them for a long time as mini Trump. It's a mini Trump government. Our Prime Minister is also best friends with a QAnon person who got kicked off Twitter a while ago for being a player in the QAnon movement. And that man is...
I can't use this paper because I was using the other pen.
Oh, do you need another piece of paper?
And it ripped.
It ripped?
It's hard.
Oh, okay. Oh, you're making some cherries.
When I was cutting it out, it ripped.
You might need the tiny black scissors. And if you're coloring something, maybe you need pencils for that, because the black part you're coloring in, I think the texture is making a hole in the paper. Ooh.
But I don't have any red textures.
Oh, your textures are in your pink fold-out thing.
No, I don't have that red one.
Oh, the red, did it all use up, darling?
No, I can't find it.
You can't find it? Okay. Oh, I don't think it was the red texture causing a problem. Look, darling, I think it was the black one causing a problem. I think you were colouring in too much with the black. See? It's the black bit that got the hole in it. So the red's fine. You can keep using the red, but with the black, just be more gentle, okay? So Lauren Bobert, you live in Colorado, August, and she represents the Western Slope and the smaller rural towns. And there are protests calling for her to step down, which is good. I know her name was trending on Twitter, but her behavior really has been so egregious, so condemnable in terms of inciting armed violence and inciting terror against the American people and the American government. We know that mass death of legislators could have occurred. There could have been hostage situations. There were zip ties. We were lucky, considering how few seconds there were between the breach of the Capitol and the spiriting away of legislators to more secure locations. Yes, she tweeted Nancy's locations a couple of times, and important in that context is that legislators were specifically told by Capitol Police to not post to social media whilst they were essentially under siege. Today, the Capitol is metal detecting at all entrances. Some senators went around the scanners. Was it senators or was it House representatives? Because I feel that Louis Gohmert and Lauren Bobert have both evaded the metal detectors. So Bernadette is saying Dr. Chronology is on HAPS and we would be awesome together. I'm unfamiliar with her work, so I hope we come to view each other's work and see if we could potentially work with each other. That would be lovely. I thank you for making that suggestion. I'll try and follow her account on HAPS. Zente felt a real panic last week during that siege, even worse than you felt on 9/11. Now that's quite extraordinary because 9/11 I know was a huge a hugely emotionally devastating day for Americans when many of them felt that their entire country was under attack, that they didn't know what was happening, but that planes were falling out of the sky, and we were just hearing of tragedy after tragedy, a plane going down in a Pennsylvania field, the two towers collapsing with thousands of people inside, the lives of those passengers in those planes that were turned into weapons, the bodies of Americans literally weaponized without their consent, and just the idea of people perishing in a ball of flame as their plane was flown into a building, let alone people in the building as it began to potentially shudder and they knew it was burning and they were trying to escape from the stairs, and that firefighters went up in the stairs to save people and lost their lives in that way. The House just passed legislation approving a resolution calling for Pence to use the 25th Amendment to remove Trump immediately, which Pence is adamant that he won't do. Not only is he adamant he won't do it, he is deriding Democrats for even trying and calling it political games. So yes, I'm really sorry, Zinte, you must have felt incredibly troubled that your whole country was falling to fascism when you could see the riot unfold. Dr. Chronology is on Twitter as well. Excellent, I'll look her up there. Zinte used to live 3 miles from that Pennsylvania field. Your cousin was killed on 9/11. He was a Navy commander at the Pentagon. His first desk duty. That's really sad. Ouch. I'm sorry, Bob. Sorry for your cousin. I don't like 9/11. Nobody does, really. But America sought to find Osama bin Laden, and they did during the administration of Barack Obama, and Osama bin Laden was killed. And Trump would like people to forget about that. He would like to supersede all of Barack Obama's accomplishments in office. But sadly, the records he has broken are for seeking to overturn and overthrow American democracy and brainwashing Americans until they begin to try to kill each other by not wearing masks. And I'm talking about Trump followers. They give in to radical individualism in terms of prioritizing their own comfort ahead of the economy, because mask wearing would improve people's ability to go out and live. It would, by containing the virus, it would enhance people's ability to live their lives without overwhelming the hospital system. You could still pursue an elimination strategy, use masks, socially distance, and prevent virus transmission enough that it had gone away if appropriate steps had been taken at an early stage. Now, Trump isn't alone in mismanaging the pandemic amongst world leaders, many of whom have made egregiously terrible decisions. Scott Atlas is someone who Trump listened to because he agreed with Trump's pre-existing positions on not doing anything for the virus, not doing anything to contain COVID, to try and, in order to gain political advantage relative to Joe Biden, to make himself the president of reassurance, the president of falsely telling the American people everything was fine and there's no need to do anything about COVID because it's just not a big problem. And you can see that if you've seen little clips of Donald Trump Jr. on Fox News saying as little as a few months ago that the death rate was practically zero. Donald Trump himself said that hardly anybody was dying from COVID. All untrue, all false reassurance, so that Trump could gain support from voters who would prefer it to be true. They'd prefer COVID to not be a problem. And Trump offered them that choice of voting for a preferred reality. And sadly, voting for that preferred reality didn't make actual reality go away. And because contagion has only escalated, 30,000 Americans died in the last month, over 30,000 Americans. And I'm making extraordinary rounding numbers now just because that's the scale of death and chronic disease that have been orchestrated by a self-serving criminal president who murderously exposed Americans to risk by not only failing to lead, not only failing to have a COVID plan, not only failing to have a testing or scaling up of PPE production plan, he actively discouraged people from mask wearing. He actively made fun of people who wore masks, such as Joe Biden, and he encouraged deadly behavior amongst those who believed him. So even Bruce Willis today was asked to leave a pharmacy because he refused to wear a mask. Now, I've often made the point that Americans who are against gun laws seem to yearn for gunfights and to yearn for themselves to be able to actualize a Bruce Willis type scenario in their own lives, in which they are crawling through corridors yelling yippee-ki-yay, MFer, and they take on some baddies by themselves. This delusional attraction to Hollywood movies as if they want to enact them in their own lives. And now to find out that Bruce Willis is himself a proponent of that, I want to live out my life as if I'm just in a movie and there's no consequences and nothing I do can actually hurt anybody, etc. Dr. Alice has been taken off Twitter. That'd be good. I know he said the other day that he'd lost 12,000 followers and people were retweeting him and making very pithy comments that, are you sure you lost 12,000 followers or did they just die from taking your advice? Because he's a Christian fundamentalist. He belongs to the Hoover Institute that promote the discredited pretend theory of intelligent design, which is just a way of phrasing a Christian argument against evolutionary science. Science, I prefer to say. It broke? Remember how Mummy really loves it when you're brave and you push through, darling. If you need another piece of paper, you can come to me and I'll give you some more paper. I know, and that's frustrating, but if you keep at it, you might make one that surprises you still with how much better it is. And if you fold the paper up for recycling, that's better than crumpling it. You crumpled it, didn't you? Yeah. Can I see? You broke? Because you're trying to make cherries? You have to, oh, that one's not broken.
Yeah, but
the other one broke. Yeah, I know. Do you want Mommy to cut out that one for you?
No, we're going to do it again.
And how come you're making cherries in the first place? Are you making them so we can have paper food to eat?
No, I want to make earrings.
Oh, like cherry earrings. Why does your brother keep closing the door so? Oh, well. Do you want me to cut it out next time? Yeah? Because it is a bit delicate if you're making
Mom, I'll cut it out.
Yeah, Mummy will cut it out. Why don't you bring me the scissors?
You
going to make some more? Okay, that sounds like a good compromise. Yes, Bob points out an important statistic. 20,000 died of flu the entire last flu season, whereas 20,000 people died in the last week of COVID. And I saw a meme that looks like it could be helpful because it said, be kind and wear a mask. And once Trump can no longer tweet and he's heavily discredited as he is now, perhaps that will help people respond in a better way to Biden's administration exhorting people to wear masks. Because Trump had a very motivated reason to tell people not to wear masks. He didn't want them to have a potent visual symbol of the fact that COVID was real. He preferred many of his voters to exist in a fabricated reality where COVID maybe was real and maybe was just a hoax. And that way he could get all the votes of people saying, well, if Trump's right, then COVID's not real and nothing bad's going to happen to me. I'm not going to become homeless. All I have to do is just vote for Trump, have Trump in power, telling people not to be afraid and to go out and buy things and go to movies and church. And that's the reality I'm voting for because I desperately want it to be true. So once Trump is out of office and the hope of that reality being true is no longer being fed and sustained by active indoctrination, then perhaps that will open up more emotional room for people to do the right thing and people to accept that Biden is dealing with reality, that he's not just irresponsibly telling people that COVID is a hoax and that mask wearing is for sissies. If that reality shuts down, then there's hope that more people will be able to act responsibly and people will be able to use the tools of social shaming, etc. And it won't be political because there's no longer the political chance for Trump to stay in office. It'll just be public health. Wear a mask or we will condemn you. Not because we want Trump in or out. There's no hope of Trump being in anymore. It's not about Trump. This is just about stop opening up the possibility doors for you to asymptomatically spread to others, for you to pass it on to someone else, who works in a nursing home, who could expose
But they have to be small for you.
They do. I'll cut it very small. Expose the residents to deadly risk. Whether they are people who work in a nursing home or people who work in a prison or people who work in a migrant detention center with small children who've been unreasonably detained by officials working for Trump. I also saw on Twitter someone say, prepare yourselves for an onslaught of confessional books and speeches and shows of people who worked with Trump who say they just stuck around to keep the ship from capsizing, who just stuck around out of patriotic duty to America. And they didn't really want to help Trump. They were just trying to do the right thing. Now, I think I've already seen one example of that from a conservative person called Sarah Ishiger, I think is her name. And at one point she was appointed to be CNN's political editor, but then there was a heavy outcry over that because she didn't really have the qualifications, and it just seemed to be the fact that she was conservative that got her the job. But anyway, she worked in the Trump administration, and when she left, they were angry with her. And she wrote a piece for the Washington Post in which she said, you know what, I realize now, whilst we told ourselves we were trying to help America, what we were really doing by preventing Trump from being able to carry out his worst excesses, we were just actually preventing America from seeing who he truly was, and therefore were perpetuating his ability to remain in office. Can I show them? I'll show them. She's made tiny little cherry bits of paper because I have cherry earrings, and now she's got 2 cherry earrings. She was getting frustrated cutting them out before because they are quite fiddly to cut out, aren't they? Okay, you go. You can get your sticky tape or whatever you want to do to make her own. To make her own clip-on earrings with sticky tape. Oh, Euromaestro's here. Hey, sorry, I didn't recognize you before. I'll say like. Stop the exponential growth by new variants. That's important. So it's not like anybody should just give up and say maybe the herd immunity people should have their wish because there's so much spread of the disease anyway. Now we have to worry about spread of the new variant, which is potentially more severe for children and definitely more contagious. They stuck around for the grift. Thank you, Paulus. I try having compassion to a degree because I think compassion and understanding advance. The small sticky tape I think is perfect.
No, I need the big one.
You don't need big sticky tape because...
I need the big one.
Okay, we'll keep looking for it then.
But I didn't find it. I need your help.
I'm still broadcasting, so I'm happy to bring... Why don't you bring me the sticky tape that you did find and I'll see. Oh, will you pass me the cherries? I'll keep them safe here. I do really wish she'd show you her dragon because I'm still very impressed with it.
You just want to tell me.
I just want to show them your dragon. Because it's air drying clay and she made the wings stick out to the side like that, and she rested with that dragon. And she made the wings stick out to the side by putting little containers underneath the wings, so they dried at exactly the right angle so that her air drying clay dragon looks like it's in flight. So the House has adopted the 25th Amendment resolution, which
I decided that I won't throw them the dragon until you help me find the big sticky tape.
I still think the little sticky tape is the one to use. And I think
Fine, no dragon.
Okay.
Get the big one.
Oh wow! YouTube has also
Mommy, please help me find
is that a just
one.
suspended the president's channel?
Just help me find of no dragon.
Yep. So yes, Sheldon's right.
Dragon?
I don't want it so much that I want to put up with somebody yelling while I'm talking.
Please just get me that sticky tape. Well, it's no dragon.
I would look in exactly the same place as you. I would look in the craft drawer, and if it wasn't there, I would just walk around the living room seeing if it had got put under anything.
You help me get it. You help me. Help me. I have this independent, so whichever one finds it, I'll give you $2.
You'll give me $2. She made a gym today. She set one up in my bedroom with
I'll
some
give
equipment.
you $2.
With equipment she'd found, and she charged me money. I had $2, so I gave that to her because it was a good setup for the gym. You could use weights. You could use this pedaling thing she rescued from the spare room. And what else could you do? Oh, and she said you can jump on the bed as long as you keep in the middle and don't go near the edge for safety. And I wasn't wearing that much clothes at that point. And she told me, what did you say? You told me you better put on some more clothes.
Or else you'll be banned from the top.
Or else I'd be banned from the gym.
And by the way, no refunds.
And no refunds. Oh, you, Maestro, didn't understand my question, probably because I got interrupted. Oh, yes, my question about the YouTube channel. Stop. The YouTube channel was, didn't they do that yesterday? But it might be a new thing, which I'm excited about. I just felt that I had the memory of this graphic which said, not only has Trump been banned from Twitter, but also YouTube, TikTok, Pinterest, which is novel. I didn't know the president of the United States was on Pinterest. That's hilarious. Hilarious in a tragic context, as anything Trump related always is. You munchkin.
Find the big sticky tape.
What's the exchange rate for $2? Similar to the United States.
Please just help me find the big sticky tape.
Oh, thanks, Alan.
Please.
Sweetheart, you're going to lose a sticker. I'm counting to 5, and if you don't stop, if you're still asking me about the sticker tag, you've lost 1 sticker, and then you'll be down from 8 stickers to 7. And I know you can calculate that that's a loss. Yeah. One more saying it, and you're down to 7. Look at me. Okay, you're on 7 stickers now. But it'll be 6 soon if I hear it again. I'll go straight to 6. You know why? Mummy's talking to people on the internet. They're going to go to sleep soon. So it's just a little bit more talking, and then I'll come help you. But not just yet.
How much more?
He's banned from, well, he can't be broadcasting on the P Hub word. Does that mean he's banned from using it? It is meant to be a good day. Bye-bye, darling. Or you're down to 6. Who's trying to pick a state to live in? I have picked a state to live in that my husband's already has a job that's centered in Boston, but he works from home in a different country. Yes, so the state is Massachusetts. I hear that it's a reasonably racist part of America to live in, but the presence of Ivy League universities as well means there are very lovely parts to it as well. So that's okay. There's lots of racism in Australia as well. It's not as if I'm moving from a less racist place to a more racist place. Australia is really showing its racist colours right now because of its white nationalistic style government that nevertheless has support from a lot of migrants because of the inflamed culture war in relation to social progress. So the issue of gay marriage helped cement a lot of conservative Australian migrant support for our Republican equivalent political party, because they didn't allow gay marriage. They asked for gay marriage to be put to a referendum to the Australian people. So yes, the people advocating for gay marriage won, but that left a lot of psychologically riled up conservatives, including religious, more conservative affiliated migrant people, as well as a lot of white Christian Australians as well. And that's a powerful coalition to have on your side, particularly when Rupert Murdoch will continue to cater to that conservative idea that the people who are the guardians of family and guardians of the social fabric are conservative politicians. So the YouTube ban is new. Well, then that's excellent news. Thank you so much for sharing it with us, Euro Maestro. I'm very glad. Sheldon gave me a super heart. Oh, you have to be careful with those because there was hope that I was going to get them when our family had obtained their visas to move to the US. But I need to be in the US by the 1st of April, and we're going at the end of April. So now I have to warn people that that pot of ever cashing out my hearts is now out of reach because I won't be a resident of the United States in time. I will be 30 days too late. But I still love that you give me the hearts and love anyway, so thank you. I'm going to get off the broadcast now, darling. Did you see that she wanted some sticky tape?
She got some.
Oh, she got some. Is it not? Do you think it's not adequate for him? No, that's a perfect size.
She's mad at you.
Oh, she's just mad at me. Yeah. That's fair. He cannot upload new content for a week and comments are not allowed on his videos. That's good. I want him to be kicked off permanently, but maybe YouTube's just building up the nerve to do that. Bob says Massachusetts is one of the least racist states, which I'd like to believe, but I've still heard differently from some quarters. Oh, you can buy weed in Massachusetts. Is it legal in Massachusetts? I've never tried marijuana for real, because out of fairness to people who go to jail for distributing weed, I wouldn't want to do something that could potentially get other people imprisoned for their part in the supply chain. So if I go somewhere where it's legal, then maybe I would try some. They're saying weed is legal in Massachusetts, honey.
Well, then we have to go.
Maybe we would have a brownie. Oh, Vermont. Vermont, it's legal. Thank you, Dan. I will, of course, verify all of these things for myself, but thank you for the input.
Can you help with it?
Yep. Have you recovered? You still cranky? How come you ask for help from someone you're cranky? Well, that does look cool. It's going to conceptually...
Mama didn't help.
I did help lots. I cut out your earrings.
Didn't help get the sticky tape though.
Well, I told you the little sticky tape would be fine.
Before you helped me.
I told you to just bring me the little sticky tape.
This one?
Any sticky tape you could find, I said would be fine.
Yes, but I couldn't find this one.
Oh, okay.
That was when I couldn't find this.
Alan will send me some. Oh, there you go. All right, although I will be careful. You can't inhale or something if you want to run for office. And maybe after I live in the United States for a period of time, who knows what period of time you have to be a resident of the United States before you can run for office. But I think I'll probably be running for something, whether it be dog catcher, on the school board. I am definitely in love with the idea of crowding out badness in politics by filling politics with people with a conscience, with compassion, who aren't beholden to donors such as Russia or the Koch brothers or Robert Mercer, who are beholden to the American people and to the planet more generally, and who aren't afraid of balancing out compassion with pragmatism, who aren't afraid of articulating that checks and balances on tax are important so that people's money is not misspent, but that research shows that helping people in distress, helping people who have suffered misfortune, that's not a handout, that's an important investment in members of your society so that your society is consequently strengthened. And I'm all about finding those analogies and those word choices that can help sell that philosophy to the American people. Thank you, Dan. I'm glad to have your preemptive support. Oh, no, that's not. Oh, yeah, that's Dan and Sheldon. See? 2 votes. Oh, in Canada, it's legal everywhere. Bob drove up to Massachusetts and bought weed a few months ago. How exciting. Well, thank you, Dan. Thank you, Sheldon. Thank you, Alan and Bob and Zinte. You do look like a queen. Okay, do you want to show them the earrings you made yourself? Okay. She has made herself earrings. Look like cherries. That's my little creative girl. Now, do you want to show them your dragon?
Yeah.
Maybe? Okay. And then we'll say goodbye to them. Let's check Twitter and see if there's been any updates in relation to those members of Congress who stormed past the metal detectors. Oh, Geraldo has said, a loyal friend hounded without mercy by Democrats, intent on destroying him from day one. Then he lost the election. It made him crazy. Well, I don't need to put in quote marks. It's my quote marks. It made him crazy, says Geraldo. That's right. I'll put it in a second. And revealed the dysfunction I had. Just sit on my lap and you can do it. Revealed the dysfunction I had refused to see. He then unleashed a mob to make war on their own government, 5 to their doom. Liz Cheney is right. So Geraldo is getting more honest. All right, show them the dragon. I think the camera's up there, Baba. Maybe hold it a little bit more in the middle. There you go.
Holy.
There. So turn it around a little bit so they can see the wings and how they go up. Because and maybe turn it towards the face. So the face of the dragon is towards the camera. There you go. Cool earrings and smart dragon tooth. There you go. And Zinte's going to bed. Stephanie's here too. Hello, Stephanie. They like it, darling. Oh, and Dan says they'd vote for me in Canada. True, but my husband has a job in Boston. They liked it, darling. They liked your dragon and they liked your earrings. All right, let's say goodbye. Oh, she says fantastic. Marcia says fantastic dragon. Does that feel good to have made something that they like? Yeah? Yeah. All right, let's wave goodbye to everybody.
Bye.
Bye. Can we say sorry for all of the times you interrupted Mummy? Because they were trying to listen.
Okay.
Yeah, you want to say sorry, everybody?
Sorry.
Are you going to do that again?
No.
What's going to be the consequence if you interrupt Mummy that much again?
Can I not speak now?
All right. Go. But the consequence will be I will send you straight to your room, okay? Because that was too much. Too much.
My turn now?
Yeah. Bye-bye. Bye-bye. Look for a picture of the world record origami. It's a dragon. I will do that. She might like it. See you later, everybody. Take care. And impeachment day tomorrow. Get a good night's rest. I know that impeachment is not the be-all and end-all. There's impeachment in the House, conviction in the Senate, and then that would enable a further simple majority vote to be conducted that would then disqualify Trump from holding further office, which would be a big sigh of relief for the American people. It's not really okay to incite insurrection and then have the ambition to run for further office on the backs of your deluded supporters who still have significant potential to inflict violence on the United States and its people. Bye-bye. Bye-bye. Peachy day tomorrow.
Okay. Bye.